Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, this video may scare you, but rightfully so. In my last video, I was talking about how we're advancing into this new digital technological era with electric vehicles, solar panels, the new Green Deal, but we don't have enough silver to make all that happen. Do you think Joe Biden is just going to come out and say, sorry guys, we're not, the new Green Deal can't happen? Or do you think Elon Musk is going to come out and say, we're shutting down Tesla? No. But there's a massive silver shortage and we do not have enough silver to make all of this happen. If you think of a sci-fi movie, flying cars, skyscraper, everything's digital. Well, there's already a silver shortage and we haven't even started the new Green Deal. We haven't even started. That's going to be in full effect in 2023, 2024. And by then, the silver shortage will be at a much more severe rate. This year, we already surpassed 1 billion ounces of silver demand. That hasn't happened in several years. So things are going to get more extreme. And if people think that the government won't confiscate your silver, you are about to be sadly mistaken. And I'm going to show you why this could happen, how this could happen, when it could happen, and how likely it is going to happen. Because it's happened several times throughout history, not just in the United States, but all over the world. All over the world, they have confiscated people's gold for reasons way less severe than why they would with our silver. So we're going to be going over all of this. I'm going to show you all the times they've done it, how likely it is, examples throughout history, and also an important one leading to a time they literally banned silver. They literally banned silver. You could not buy it. You could only sell it and only sell it to the government. So they have done something like this before, not just with gold confiscation, but they have banned silver. So this is going to be one of those very important videos. Please like this video. Please subscribe. I'm doing a 50,000 subscriber silver giveaway on December 1st, only a couple days away. You don't want to miss it, trust me. I'm throwing some silver out to people who want to invest into GSX gold secured currency. The link's in the description. Take a snapshot of your purchase, send it to Silver Slayer Media, and I'll be throwing some silver away, or some silver to people who did invest into that as well. Just expand your portfolio. So this video is going to cause a lot of controversy, and I want you to throw your opinion out there. I want this to be a controversial video. I want people to talk about this because I think it is more likely than people realize. The first one and the most popular is the Executive Order 6102 from FDR that literally put out a thing in the newspaper saying that you have to turn in all of your gold or you will get a $10,000 fine or 10 years in prison or both. As Section 9 of the order, you have to turn in all of your gold coins, bullion, and certificates now owned by the Federal Reserve Bank. You had to turn it in or you could go to prison, literally. That is something that could happen again. And it's happened several times, not just, like I said, in the United States, but all over the world. This is a scary thought because if you think about why the silver shortage is so important, when we're talking about this, usually people end the conversation at, yeah, that's gonna push the price of silver up. But have you thought about the aftermath? Yeah, we all get rich off silver, but they still have to find the silver afterwards. Have you ever thought past the thought of, silver's scarce, that's why the price is going to go up? But do you think that they're just magically going to find the silver? They're either going to learn how to, I guess, mine the silver out of the ground, right? Innovation, space mining, which I don't think is going to be realistic by the time that we're going to need all of this silver. There is an asteroid coming towards Earth called Psyche 16, It's actually going to be approaching Earth by 2026. NASA is sending out a rover by 2022 to look at this asteroid, and it is covered in precious metals. They're saying there could be $500 quintillion worth of precious metals on this asteroid, and they're actually looking to mine this thing. Can they do it by 2026 when the asteroid is approaching Earth? Highly unlikely, but they're going to try. And I think it's because they realize how serious this is. I mean, I just said the demand reached over 1 billion ounces this year, but the U.S. Mint is having trouble finding, 13 million ounces worth of silver to make their American Eagles. There was a limited mintage this year of the type 1 and type 2 eagles because they couldn't find 13 million ounces, but we're talking about a global demand of 1 billion. So if you think about that moving forward, this year was 1 billion ounces, but think about when every automobile company's electric. Think about when the new Green Deal and the entire world is going green, going solar. Silver is required in all of that, but we already have a shortage. So you could see why they could. Either they're going to dig it out of the ground, space mine it, or kick in your door and steal your safe. Now, obviously, they're not going to kick in your door and steal your safe, but they probably would post something similar to this, and you would have to turn in your silver. Now, would you? That's a different question, but obviously, if you got caught, you could get in some serious trouble. So, I have a couple articles. I just wanted to give a little intro into this whole entire thing, and we can start getting into some of the details. Make sure to like this video because I really do want people to see this, and make sure you comment, help the YouTube algorithm, because this is one of those videos that everyone needs to see. So, can the government confiscate your gold and just replace that word with silver? Because gold is not scarce right now. Silver is, and we need silver, not gold. So let's not keep you in suspense. If you're not careful, your government can confiscate your gold. Moreover, it can probably do so without compensating you. In the United States, British, Australian, and many more governments have all done this within the last 100 years. So the clear answer to can the government confiscate your gold is yes. The real question is how can you avoid it? Ironically, governments have a habit of confiscating gold just when it becomes the most valuable. Example, when fiat currencies trade down. As a real hedge against currency and economic collapse, gold can insulate you from severe economic downturns. And that's when they do it, is when there's times of economic uncertainty, times of serious, recession and depression, because gold is wealth. Gold is what makes a country wealthy. The reason the United States is the richest country in the world is because we own the most gold. Gold is what wealth is. That is what determines wealth. When countries are in a bad or a severe situation, they need gold, which is going to lead us to the Hunt brothers owning up to 77% of the global silver supply, and why the government banned silver. Because if they owned 77%, that's not enough, even back in 1980 when this happened, for the governments to keep making even electronics. So you could see how and why they banned silver, called Silver Rule 7, which led to Silver Thursday, which we'll talk about in a little bit after we go over all of this other stuff as well. So this is an article. Actually, let's show this. So we showed down here, this is the actual thing that came out in the newspaper. All persons are required to deliver on or before May 1st, 1933, all gold coins, and that's why you see like the St. Gaudens Eagle, the 1933, and that's why that coin is so rare and so highly sought after. So this is how the U.S. government seized all citizens' gold in the 1930s. So with global financial markets in disarray, many investors are turning into classic safe havens. Gold's trading above $1,750, yada, yada, yada. So you can see, yet there are two slight caveats to reviewing gold as a safe haven. Early in economic downturn, gold prices often plummet with the rest of the market. This is from investors selling gold to offset losses in shares and other assets. We saw this in March. So you can see right here throughout history times that they've done this, but it's during extreme crisis. Governments can also seize people's gold. There have been many or some stunning examples of gold confiscation in the past. Most memorable is the U.S. in 1933 from FDR. But there's been a lot of other times as well, which we're about to go over. But actually, what's interesting is this lasted for a long time. In 1980, the Hunt brothers were investing into silver because gold was banned. You couldn't invest into gold back in 1980. That's why they chose silver. So this is something, and that's, only a couple decades ago. People don't realize if you're a new silver stacker nowadays and you don't do your research or you never really looked into silver or gold or the history, it's been a lot sooner, a lot more recent than you realize, where gold has been banned, where you couldn't buy gold. It was illegal to own gold, where you couldn't buy silver on the COMEX. This has been only a couple decades ago. So it's not something that's from early 1900s, and now this could still happen. Very, very likely. So this one goes into the Executive Order 6102, forcing all citizens to sell at well below market rates. Immediately after the confiscation, the government set a new official rate for gold, and that was higher as the Gold Reserve Act of 1934. Now, what's interesting is back then, in 1930, FDR, when he was in office, changed the gold to silver ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. Throughout history, the gold to silver ratio was 8 to 1, 9 to 1, right? In early ancient biblical times, it was 2.5 to 1. 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold. 2.5 to 1. Because silver was magical back then. It can purify water, right? Silver was magic, just as valuable as gold is. But over time, it was 8 to 1 because that's the rate that it comes out of the ground. But over the thousands of years later, gold is seen as royal. It's 16 to 1. Until 1930, FDR changed it from 16 to 1 to 75, single-handedly devaluing silver himself. That's just a little bit of context into this. Now, this is an era of the gold standard, which meant dollars were tradable for an exact amount of precious metal. Seizing the metal enabled the government to print more dollars to try to stimulate the economy, also buy more dollars on the international markets. So you can obviously guess that many gold owners were understandably unhappy about gold seizure, and some fought it in the courts. Ultimately, however, the government could not be stopped. The gold ownership remained illegal in the U.S. until the 1970s. And another crazy thing to think about is they did let some people still own their gold. And even with the Hunt brothers investing, or when they banned silver, some people were still allowed, but it was very, very limited. It was private collectors that it was numismatic coins, right? It wasn't silver that is melted down for its metal. It was some type of very collectible coin, and only certain people were allowed to keep them, which is also very interesting. So this intervention is not unique, even in contemporary history. In 1959, Australia's government put a law in place that allowed gold seizures from private citizens if expended to do so for the protection of the currency or the public credit of Commonwealth. And in 1966, to stop the decline in the pound, the UK government banned citizens from owning more than 4 gold or silver coins and blocked the private import of gold. And this was only lifted in 1979. And it's not only happened there, we've had also check gold seizure. I can't even say the name, or this video would probably get silenced or censored. But Germany's own person, his name, had a bad track record where gold searches and seizures were concerned. Upon a successful march into this, he actually dispatched in order to the Bank of England that was holding Czech national gold reserves. And this was another one in World War II, Australian gold confiscation in 1959, British gold ban of 1960s. And then there's also the Cyprus currency seizure, which only a few short years ago in 2015, the Republic of Cyprus decided to try to trade a modern day variation of the gold seizure theme by doing an easier route. And this is interesting. Through seizing cold hard cash in bank accounts instead of gold, they only grabbed the amounts of exceeding $100,000 in euros in a single account, which amounted to most of the accounts of many thousands of foreigners living there, yet that was actually really big score laid. The country was able to utilize the billions it seized to bail in their collapsing major banks and whole banking system. Just like the problem was effectively solved in sorry Russians if they took your money. And it only takes a single stroke of the pen from big government to strike away any and all rights and laws that safeguard your right to own gold privately. And this is really why it happens. It only needs a single state of emergency, which is code speak for the government is desperate enough that it requires a reason people will accept to make off with your money. And just like we're in this situation now, not only the silver shortage could jeopardize them taking your silver, but also because of the state of the economy. The dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power. That's a literal number, not 97%, not 99%. 98% is a factual number. That's how worthless the dollar is since it started. The United States is $29 trillion in debt. We are in a very serious situation, so not only could they confiscate silver for the silver shortage, but most likely it would be gold that they confiscated for the dollar's extinction or collapse. So this is just very interesting, and I found this one on Bitcoin confiscation, but still replaced this word with silver because they put this in a very different way. But if you replace Bitcoin with silver, it makes so much sense. So believe it or not, from 1933 to 1974, it was illegal for American citizens to keep gold. And that was $10,000 penalty or 10 years imprisonment. And yes, you heard it right. You could not buy your wife a gold ring. Neither could she wear any gold jewelry. All your gold hoardings now belong to the Federal Reserve Bank, or the Feds. On April 1st, 1933, obviously he put in the Executive Order 6102. And then let's keep going through this because they make some good points. A $10,000 fine is worth $189,000 today. So if we're talking about anything similar, they could still screw you. And if you got caught, you would have to pay nearly $200,000 in fines. Imagine this, the 95% devaluation in purchasing power of the dollar, which is now 98%, since 1933, and how the world has been systematically robbed by these bank elites. And as you can see down there, the restriction of gold ownership was only lifted after 41 years by President Gerald Ford in 1974. This lasted 41 years. And this is after which private ownership of gold coins, bars, and certificates was made legal. And that's where we're going into the Hunt brothers investing. They invested into silver because you couldn't invest into gold when they started. So they are saying what the Fed did with gold hoarders in 1933, what do you think can stop them from doing it with Bitcoin hoarders in 2018? Now just replace that with silver stackers in 2021. Think about it. And if they're talking about Bitcoin miners, which is very similar to silver mining, it's the same type of situation. Now, do you think, and this is some situations with crypto that I'm not really going to go over, with South Korea and Bitcoin exchanges, because this is talking about silver. But do you think that since or throughout history, since this has happened so many times, and I'm sure there's other times as well. They were just smaller instances, or like some type of Vikings or Spartan situations like that. But we're talking about real government, big government with banks and reasons, from a country basis and their downfall. So, was this all in the past? That's the real question. Can they do it again? Within months of making gold illegal to own, Roosevelt raised the price of gold by 40%. It went to an official $35 per ounce, and that was when the gold to silver ratio turned to 75 to 1. So what really happens is the government takes your gold, forces you to accept cash, and then makes the cash worthless gold. Although it makes less sense for governments today to engage in these tactics, extreme and rare circumstances still happen. And if we go over the Hunt brothers, this is when they banned silver. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory. I did like a 2 or 3 video docu-series on this. Very interesting stuff. I highly recommend you check it out. And I also did a docu-series on the asteroid coming towards Earth called Psych 16. If you guys aren't subscribed, or if you guys don't watch my videos, I highly recommend it. I post a lot of diverse content. It all revolves around precious metals. But everything I've said, there's no script to this video. Every point that I've made, all these numbers I've thrown out, is off the top of my head, and I post daily videos like this. So it's very important. When I say subscribe, it's not for my sake, it's for yours, right? You really do need to know about this stuff. So the Hunt brothers cornered the silver market, and you can see 1979, remember the gold standard, remember when gold was illegal to own in 74 and all that, and through that decade. That's why they invested into silver. But they tried to corner the silver market, which means buy up all the silver. Now, we do see a similar situation happening today with Wall Street silver trying to corner the market, right? Wall Street silver is trying to corner the market. Same exact situation. Buy up all the silver to push the price up. Back then, it was only 3 brothers, and they owned up to 77%. Most of it was on the COMEX, or almost all of it was on the COMEX, but they turned those contracts into physical delivery. So yes, they owned a whole bunch of silver on a screen, but they turned it in for physical delivery, meaning they were going to own almost all the silver in the world. Now imagine if they did that. The government couldn't make anything. Silver, even back then, only a couple decades ago, is very valuable and essential. So what do you think the governments did? They made a law on the spot that said you can't buy silver anymore. You have to sell it. You can't sell it to your friends. You got to sell it to us. It's a similar situation to the gold confiscation, but it's also very different as well. So let's go over a little bit of this. These brothers were estimated to hold 1/3 of the entire world's supply of silver. And this number jumps all over. Some people say 77%, some people say 50%, a third. Regardless, they owned most of the silver. Now, the situation for other prospective purchasers of silver was so dire that on March 26, 1980, the jeweler Tiffany's took out a full page of the New York Times condemning the Hunt brothers and stating, "We think it is unconscionable for anyone to hoard silver bullion and, yes, $1 billion worth of silver, thus drive the price up so high they must pay artificially high prices for articles made of silver." And yes, that's exactly what they did, like what Wall Street Silver tried to do, push the price from $25 to $2,500, or some people saying even higher. They did this. They pushed the price from around $9 to $50. That was the second highest price silver's ever been. 2 times, in 1980 and 2011, silver was almost $50. Now, as 1980 $50 silver happened, the Hunt brothers, they banned silver. The Hunt brothers had to sell all of their silver, pushed it back down to nearly $9, and that was also during Silver Rule 7 banning, and that led to Silver Thursday, which is when the price dropped nearly 50% in 4 days. They were unable to meet their obligations, causing panic in the markets. Everyone panic sold. Everyone panic sold. I mean, if you think about $50 silver and you know that it dropped 50% in 4 days, you're going to try to sell as well to get at least some type of $40 silver, $30 silver, because if you know that it could be sold for $50 and it's going down to, you're thinking probably $5 or less, you're going to sell as well and take some type of cash while you still can. Now, this was completely legal though. But the Hunt brothers got into some other situations, borrowing, and that's why they got sent to jail. If they wouldn't have done the other stuff with banking and all that, they wouldn't have really done anything illegal. But this is where the situation gets sticky. This was a big deal. Everyone in the United States was hearing about this. But the government also had to deem these guys as criminals because they were investing into silver. Everyone was hearing about silver, and then they asked themselves, why silver? And that leads to what we talk about on a daily basis. This is exposing the dollar, exposing something that is taking the power away from them into your own hands, controlling your wealth. And that is everything we're talking about on a daily basis, because exposing the system, exposing the government is what they were doing. So the government didn't want that reality to happen. So what they said was, these guys are just doing some illegal criminal stuff with silver. And you could see why the government had to place them in that type of spotlight, because if that wouldn't have happened, people would have realized that, hey, silver is actually a great hedge against inflation, and this is actually something brilliant that they're doing. So they had to corner them. Now, this is just a very broad situation. Obviously, I can't cover everything in this video, but I feel like I did cover what needed to be covered. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. I would love for you to participate. Let me know what you think about them confiscating your silver for the reasons of the silver shortage, or gold for the reasons of the dollar's collapse. Let me know. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment, share it, because people need to know about this stuff. This is very, very important. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, also make sure you subscribe for my 50,000 subscriber giveaway. Going to be posted on December 1st. And if you want to check out GSX Gold Secured Currency, it's a crypto backed by physical gold. They mine the gold out of the ground themselves, and the coins are only 4 cents. It could go a lot higher. Check it out. The link's in the description. You could take a screenshot of your purchase, send it to silverslayermedia@gmail.com, and I could potentially be sending some silver out to you as well. So yes, a lot of stuff. The link to these articles will be in the description. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.